Kyla,
Casey,
and Carol.
and welcome back to the MUNderperformed podcast.
hello.
Hi.
Being filmed in front of a live studio audience this episode.
We always say filmed. We're not being filmed.
We are being filmed. Say hello, studio audience. Hey.
We've sold out the room we're in, mostly because the room is very small and there's only seating for one.
We sell tickets now. They will be available on our website starting August 18th.
They won't.
19th.
Obviously, the website is something very important to us. Before we get too far into this, though, do I have a motion to open debate?
Motion to open debate.
That is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Debate is now open.
Fantastic. So let's talk about our favorite presidential candidate,
Mike Gravel.
Mr. Mike Gravel. What?
No.
I'm sorry, I just found out Mike Gravel and I have the same birthday. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the best day of my life.
is
I
a
was
lie.
looking up how old he is. He's 89.
You guys are the
No.
same age, too.
We really are. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Wow, he's a Taurus.
Okay, wait. Why was he?
Mike Gravel is a Taurus.
Honestly,
Look
of
at
course
Mike
he's a
Gravel
Taurus.
back in the day. Anyway, but Mike Gravel's a Taurus.
We'll have that photo linked on our Instagram later.
We're going to share it on our story with a link to Mike Gravel's Instagram, because if you haven't seen his Instagram, you need to look at it
Oh my God,
right
it's so funny.
now.
Pull it
right
up.
now.
Pull it up
because
while you're
the
listening.
memes are insane. The fact that an 89-year-old presidential candidate has lasers shooting out of his eyes to explode the word TurboTax is crazy.
Or
Be
how-
gone, centrists.
Or compost the rich.
Compost the rich. Happy Earth Day. Am I right? Like,
It's absolutely wild. He also hit 60,000 donors. He did this with, I saw the post when you were in the bathroom, so I'm giving you the good news now. He hit 60,000 donors, so guess who will be in the next Democratic debate?
wait, no, I think he has to hit 65. No, they did. They hit
Yeah,
65.
they hit it.
Oh my god, Mike Gravel's going to be in the debates.
God, we're so watching
CNN
that.
is blessed. They're
If-
going to come for MSNBC's throats.
If Mike Gravel can get 65,000 donors, how many can MUNderperformed get?
Donate to us. Honestly, though, speaking of donors.
We can get to the Democratic debate.
Hey!
65,000.
Oh my gosh.
All
we
of us.
donate
register
$1.
as-
Give us $65,000 total.
It's
We
going to be
register as Mono 1.
a
yeah.
podium with a hydra behind it.
Yes.
3 people running for the same office, but as one person.
No,
One
we all have to
mind.
squat down, and
mind.
if one of us has the answer, they tap the other two, and we stand up.
That's
No, we get a big trench coat and we stack on top of each other, and we're just one person. We communicate via walkie-talkie to one another.
How do we stack, though? I'm on the bottom.
You're on top.
You're on top. It's me, Caroline, and then you. But whoever has the answer to the question has to pop their head out of
Yes.
the trench coat and answer the question.
That's genius.
I love that.
All right. I just want to say that, yesterday we decided we were going to talk about Mike Gravel on the podcast. We were, hold what you wanted to say. Mike Gravel is going to be the ramble tomorrow.
He's so good.
Well, my Gravel and Pretzels.
Oh no, I'm half comatose right now.
Do you need some Tums? Because we all took
We
two.
all
and I'm
had
like,
No, if
Tums.
you popped out some Tums right now, are you getting me? Thank you. So while Casey is retrieving me Tums, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, which is a pretzel place near us that makes, basically, if you think of an empanada, but now think of that empanada being made out of pretzels. Now think of that empanada that is made out of pretzels being stuffed with various fillings that are ungodly, be it Philly cheesesteak, which is what I ate, or buffalo chicken, which is what our live studio audience, Shannon, ate, or pizza pretzels, which Caroline ate, or just normal pretzels with cheese sauce that Casey ate. We really
Please
went
go
for
down
it.
the full menu. We spent $50.
$50. We actually ate dessert pretzels, and they were stuffed with things that are inhumane, truly, like Reese's cups or cinnamon and caramel and just
Yeah, it was dulce de
debauchery.
leche pretzel.
Oh, no, it was straight
And then I
debauchery.
dipped it in chocolate
It was
sauce.
debauchery.
If you hear light rattling in the audio,
It's Tums.
mint ones?
yeah, they freshen your breath and destroy your acid reflux.
I tend to go for smoothie Tums. Leave in the comments what kind of Tums are your favorite.
Leave in the comments on Spotify.
Oh wait, these are better than I thought they would be.
What do you
Mint
think?
Tums aren't that bad. But to get down to the real meat of the episode,
Meat and potatoes.
Yes.
the meat that was inside of the pretzels that we ate.
Oh my god.
Greasy.
Greasy,
Stop.
greasy
Both of you-
podcast meetings. We're here to talk to you about our failures.
So settle in for a long episode.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of self-pity.
And,
Yeah.
what better to prelude the episode than a depressing amount of grease and heartburn? So, by failures, Kyla means we've all been there to a conference where either you thought you were doing well, you thought you were going to go in and do well, or, I don't know, you thought you weren't going to do well, and then you didn't do well. Just any conference where you really sucked.
Yeah, it just didn't turn out. Be it you did an award, or maybe you award lower than you thought you were going to. Or even if you did award, I firmly believe that there's no such thing as a perfect performance. So even in, like, you get a best del, you still did some things wrong.
Yeah, I always have the thought in my head of, like, even if I got the best del, if there was a better delegate in the room, I wouldn't have got it. And how would I beat that better delegate kind of thing? Mm-hmm. What is my weak spot, and how do I improve on that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So for telling stories, I'll start off with my little tidbit. Actually, I have two that I distinctly remember.
Give, like, the conference and, like, a short background, and then we'll go around.
Yeah. Sure. So conference was the infamous one we always talk about that was spring of our freshman year that had, like, the 5-way, I don't know, the FCC, like, if you want to call it that. But basically, this had nothing to do with the conference. But this was me not knowing how to do a crisis thing and thinking that I had it down pat. I didn't. I thought I was doing really, really well.
It's like someone walking away from a building they think is going to explode. Like, they look really cool, and then it doesn't.
I know, and then it just stays
Or, like,
up.
you throw the 3-pointer and you turn around and it bounces off the rim.
No. This, like, completely missed the rim. Like, it was just an air ball. Because I didn't know how to handle getting rejected by crisis. So I just kind of, like...
Hard.
So I kind of... Yes.
In all aspects of life.
Yes. So I didn't know how to handle getting rejected by crisis, and so I just kind of, like, let my plans fall. And then the other one, which I wish I had come to this realization sooner, was Punk this year. So Penn State's conference, where I thought I had a very good plan. It was very creative. Crisis was really going with it. They were really enjoying it. And I succeeded. I finished an entire arc after 7 conferences, or 6 conferences at this point. I'd finally finished one. And I was like, I feel like I'm actually for the first time, like, solidly in the running for, like, a top 3, like, not just a verbal, and then I get a verbal at the end, and I'm like, what'd you do wrong? I didn't affect committee as much as I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So that's the time I'm underperformed. Because I could have affected committee more, but I didn't.
I mean, I think that it's really great that you now recognize those things. I think that's the most important part.
Now that I don't
we'll
do
talk
that
about
anymore.
that. And
great.
Positivity is abound here. But
it's the pretzels are weighing our minds and our bodies.
Are sitting in our stomachs so heavy, just like our hearts.
We took Tums, though. You should be better now.
Honestly, I do feel better.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've underperformed a few times. The times in which it has happened, my big thing for me is that I don't push hard enough, fast enough. I feel like especially coming off a victory, like if you've done really well in a few conferences in a row, you get a little complacent and you'll come into a committee and you're like, no, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. It's fine. And you don't hit the ground running. I really feel like if you don't start pushing in the first session, it's hard to get that momentum built up later because there are other people doing it. And
like Friday morning.
Exactly. Yeah. And I felt that at Anman. And I talked about this in previous episodes, how that committee was kind of weird for me because I was dead. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I kind of took a back seat in the first committee session and even maybe edging into the next one too. And it took me a little while to really start pushing. And it basically was when another member of our team that was in the room came up to me and was like, are you good? Like, is everything okay? Like, I don't know. Because I'm a pretty aggressive delegate when it comes to things. Like, I'm pretty in your face when I compete. And I was like, you know what? You're right. What am I doing? Mm-hmm. This is weird. And then I started really like picking up and pushing and being who I am committee. And I mean, I'm lucky because I did end up getting a verbal in that, but I really do truly feel like I could have done a lot better in that committee if I had started earlier. I'm lucky that Crisis liked my crisis plan and they fed into it and it allowed me to make up that lost time from me being, a little bit lazy. But, and I did that too at NYU Monk, and that's another committee that I've talked about on here as being kind of confusing. I didn't really know my place in that. But basically it seems as though if I walk into committee and I'm not immediately set up, I get kind of lazy. And I'm like, I'll just see what happens, which is, at least in my experience, a set for failure because you need to push immediately and you need to establish yourself in the room and get that reputation going. So my underperformance is just me being lazy, which is very much with my zodiac signs.
Relatable.
So I guess it makes
the stars aligned.
The stars aligned for me to do badly.
You and Mike Gravel both.
Yeah, oh my God.
Wait, he's not going to do badly though.
I can't believe we have the same birthday. That changed my life.
Did it?
A little bit. I love knowing that people have the same birthday as me. No one exciting does.
Well,
Casey
Wayne
has the
has
same
the
birthday as
same-
little Wayne. Also Avril Lavigne.
Also Kyle's brother.
Also my brother.
Shout out to Ian.
Casey, when did you fail?
When haven't?
Constantly.
Yeah. So the one time I did an award at a conference, I thought I was going to be honest. So this was the committee. It was, like I said, also at MUN, where I came in and I thought I had a fantastic crisis idea. I'm a very big planner. I do a lot of background research. I get a lot of crisis ideas. But my crisis idea this time is very different because usually I brainstorm a ton of different ideas I can do, like a lot of starts, and then I just kind of flow from there and see what I do in committee. But this time I planned it one arc from start to finish. Laid it all out, had exactly what I wanted to do, knew kind of my bullet points for the day. And I think that was really what bit me in the butt because as I got into it, I realized the crisis director was not vibing with what I was doing because I thought I was being really impactful in debate and doing a lot of directives, and it just like seemed like nobody cared in the room kind of. And also crisis, I had a feeling that they were turning notes over to people much faster than they were myself. So I was also getting frustrated with that. I remember one time asking a crisis staffer when I hadn't seen my notes in like 45 plus minutes, hey, can you check my notes? And he said, yeah, okay, and rolled his eyes at me. So I think I just got very headstrong with my plan and pushed in the plan that wasn't going in a good direction in the first place. Like, obviously it wasn't what the crisis director wanted to see, so I should have changed courses, and I think that's my biggest problem, is recognizing, at least with that committee, when to steer to a different direction. Yeah, it got really frustrating for me because usually I have a very, like, funny way of doing crisis arcs, and I felt, for some reason, like I had to be more serious. Maybe it was because, like, we were stepping up in competition a little bit, and I think it backfired because I think the crisis director did like funnier arcs, but he was also focused on a different type of arc. Like, for instance, all the people who awarded had cult arcs, and mine was absolutely not that.
And we've talked about that as a pet peeve before, because it is, cults are annoying. If you've been successful with it, that's great, but, you know, I feel like it's getting very commonplace.
It's all just, oh, you know, let's draw a pentagram and have people in hoods and...
Everyone worships me.
You know, yeah, I'm the center of attention and my cult is going to make a big noise, so I'm constantly in the crisis updates. If that's what gets you an award, go ahead.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like it'd be more fun to try out other things, but I don't know. I mean, like, at the end of the day, that's what awarded, and I didn't award, so I can't really harsh on that if that's what's working for them.
Yeah.
No, and I feel like with that is really hard, especially when you put in a lot of hours planning things. Having something not work gets... And like we've said, MUN is a really mental game, and it's a long haul. So as soon as you get discouraged like that, like you've put in hours and hours of prep work, and then suddenly, you know, crisis doesn't bite, and they're not into it, that's hard and really disheartening. And having to, like, come back from that mental anguish of being like, wow, I put a lot of time into this, and suddenly it's going to amount to nothing, and I have to start from square one right now, live in committee.
And I'm passionate, and I feel like they don't care, and it's costing me as a delegate.
It's hard.
And I feel like I've already lost, basically.
Yeah.
Because I'm too deep in it.
Yeah,
that's what my sentiment was.
No, multiple times I felt like, oh wow, people's arcs are so good, like, why am I even trying?
Yeah. That's a big thing with me that happened at NYU Monk, is like, as soon as I kind of fell behind a little bit, I felt like I couldn't rebound because everyone else was already, like, full steam ahead doing it. And I think that we can kind of transition into, like, tips and tricks of dealing with stuff like that. Never count yourself out. Because awards aren't decided until Saturday night. And you have a fighting chance until then. You never know when someone's going to drop off. We've said how long of a day Saturday is. That can be your time. Like, that's what happened with me at ANMUN. Like, I mean, I only pulled a verbal, but still, it's because I ended up pushing really hard during that last day and got some stuff done. So having that mental toughness to be able to get past that, and it is hard, and it's something you learn with experience. Like, don't beat yourself up if you know, have an off conference. It happens. Everyone has conferences where they don't award. Everyone has conferences where they don't award the way that they think they should have. It's just part of it.
Also, if you see people and they're not dropping off in room and you're like, oh, dang, like, no one's dropping off, no one's getting really, really tired, you don't know what they're doing in crisis.
That's sometimes like, it's
they could
nothing.
They
a
could
lot of the time it's nothing.
No, they could be getting notes back, but their notes are just like, move this money, like, send a letter to my wife. Like, they're not doing anything actually impactful.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing little things that may or may not keep their arc going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say that there is a big difference in how I feel like at Kayak this year and at Anman this year, I had very similar paths where I felt really good in debate. I was doing well on directives, but I was really struggling in crisis because of different reasons. I think Anman was, they didn't like my crisis, and then my response time started getting really slow. I just think at Kayak, response times were really slow in general for some people this year. So I kept pushing and pushing, and I honestly thought, like, I'm so annoying. They probably hate me by now. But I kind of eked out an arc, and I ended up with the best. Compared to Anman, where I just basically got sick of hitting my head against a wall and didn't really try to switch things up, and I got nothing. So it's kind of the difference of you have to learn when to change gears and learn to keep pushing even though you get discouraged. And maybe not pushing in the same direction, but keep asserting yourself in crisis.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's that flexibility is something that comes with experience, and also, like, it changes from time to time. Like, you can't expect yourself to not have emotions and feel things when you're in MUN, because everyone invests a lot of time, and it's hard to get past those disappointments and that frustration with yourself and that frustration with the staff and being like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this? It's worked before. I'm doing the same thing. And I think that that's a whole other aspect of it, is just like making sure that you, and if you're a leader on your team, making sure your team understands that every conference asks for different things and wants different things, and you getting a best at one place, you could use that exact same strategy, that same arc in the same committee at a different place, and you wouldn't award.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
MUN is so subjective that going in thinking one strategy will get you an award every single time is honestly foolish.
It's naive.
Because every single person is different. Even if you go back to the same conference, every conference is different. They have a different staff, they have a different secretariat, like, there's different people competing. It's never, ever the same.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people who get really frustrated when they say, why didn't I award? I was so good at debate. I guess they weighed crisis more heavily. And I say, well, to award, you have to be good at both. Like, don't go in and expect, hey, if I really did poorly in crisis, my debate's going to make up for it, because obviously it didn't for me. And, hey, I did really great in crisis, but my debate was lacking. Oh, I'm upset I didn't award because obviously they're preferring debate. You have to succeed in both aspects to, assure you have a shot at a top award.
And there's also a level of experience that you reach where you can kind of start reading the room a little bit more and start seeing what crisis is looking for and what a chair is looking for. The more conferences you go to and the more staff members you see, you can kind of start getting a feel a little bit earlier for what they're looking for. But, there's always wild cards, and it's nothing to beat yourself up over. Things happen, and kind of spinning off of that, I think is also really important, as we've said in a lot of things. Pay attention to the people that do succeed. Why do they succeed? What did they do really well? And I also firmly believe in letting people know that they did well. Like, I have said many times that I'm kind of ruthless and I'm really aggressive in committee, but pretty much every single time there has been someone that's really impressed me, and I'll go up to them and be like, hey, you're, like, really good. And funny enough, there was a girl like that in my room at Kayak, and I thought she was amazing, and it was her first conference ever, and she was so good, and I didn't know that until the end.
This is still insane to me.
And then she was in my same committee at Anman, and it was crazy to see her again and be like, and she had grown a bunch, and it was just really cool to see, like, as someone who was finishing their MUN career, see someone starting it. I don't know, it's just like, let people know when they're doing a good job, because nothing feels better than having some random other delegate do that, and it, like, paying attention to those things so you can say those things makes you a better delegate because you're learning.
Yep.
There really should be more, I think, camaraderie. I think there should be more camaraderie in MUN.
There should.
The best conference experience I ever had was the top 3 that awarded. I mean, partially because I was in a block with them the whole weekend, but outside of committee, we were all friendly. After awards were handed out, we were all congratulating each other. Like, I said to the best, like, you did fantastic. He was like, you were great too. We all... I don't know, it was just very friendly. Everyone was proud of each other that we had done well. And, you know, maybe there's different sentiments if you really butted heads with someone in committee, but I think, you know, kind of game recognizes game. You have to acknowledge, like, even if I lost to you, you did a great job, and maybe I can learn something from that. Even if I've been in a committee where I didn't necessarily agree with who got the best Dell, I can look at them and say, you won first place, how can I absorb some of that ability in tactics that you use? Because I think you can always learn from other people in the room.
For sure.
No, and even, like, MUN skills in real life, like, very applicable. You can be real loud in, like, the meeting room or, like, on calls or if you're talking to people, but if you're not actually doing anything to back up your actions in what you're doing in your career that's not, like, actually explicitly out there, then you're not going to go anywhere. Like, you're not going to get a promotion if you're loud, but you have no meaning behind your words.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
And I think, honestly, kind of to pivot off of that, I think we will probably do a MUN in the workplace / MUN in interviews episode, because that is, like, really, really pertinent, especially to the age groups that most of you guys are in.
I've used MUN since I've been doing it, I think, in every single professional interview I've done.
Yeah, I have to.
Everyone is
partially
like, tell me about
my
this
career.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Tell me about, what is Model UN? Tell me about this. What's this mean? What's this award? What
Like,
is
I
that?
could talk for hours.
And you can play it into a lot of things, but that's a
I have a
That's a whole
podcast about
episode
it.
for
That's
that.
a whole separate thing. But in addition, if you feel like you had a committee where you felt like you should have done better, I would recommend asking the chair / the director for feedback. But there's a caveat to that. Do not show up there and be like, I feel like I should have done better. Why did what happened? What did I do wrong? Like, why did you like them better? Like, if you come in there aggressive, do you think that they're going to help you? No.
Imagine running into them in the circuit later.
Exactly. They're also going to tell their entire staff about you, and they also know exactly what school you come from, so you're embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing your school, and you're making things hard for the rest of your team and yourself moving forward. Don't do that. Ask for their email. You know that whole 24-hour rule?
Messenger.
Facebook Messenger.
That's what I do mine on.
Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Just
DM me on Twitter.
give it a few days to digest, reflect upon yourself, talk to your team and be like, what went wrong? Then email them and be like, hey, do you have any feedback for me? Chairs love that. As someone who's chaired with 2 other people who have been chairs, that's great. Chairs really appreciate knowing that you're trying to learn and you're trying to better yourself. And it also can build some really cool relationships because the likelihood that you will see people on the circuit is very high. Like, the chair that gave me my first Best Dell was then in a committee with me literally a year later, which is like,
That was crazy.
It is
That was
crazy.
crazy.
That was so
It's
fun.
weird to compete against the same people that were like previously deciding awards for you. But that's the kind of stuff you need to build relationships for. So, you know, get feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know,
But do it respectfully.
part of me is like I can't do it anymore, was so afraid of doing that because I viewed the chair as being so significantly my senior that like it was disturbing.
When the chair's younger than you are.
And then I looked at them and I realized like I'm a junior and like I'm 21. What am I talking about? Like, we're probably the same age, if not I am older than you. Like,
Yeah, it's just like a good chair will command the respect that you're kind of worried to cross them.
No, exactly.
But you're friendly with them.
No, it's like really funny because, I mean, shout out to Tarek. I don't know if he actually still listens to this,
Tarek
but
was almost on the podcast.
Tarek was almost on the podcast. He's great. He was the chair that I was talking about that was then in my committee. He's awesome, and we've become friends out of that. So, you know, you can build relationships like that too.
I also had a staffer who was in my punk committee this year, and not 2 weeks later was in my committee at AMUN.
See?
Yeah. And
That's
also,
cool.
like, build friendships with other delegations.
Oh,
Yeah.
we love that.
we love
We're not going to name
that.
drop anything because we're not going to
like that's
expose
what
We would
Right
expose
now.
ourselves,
We're
yeah.
going to expose too much. But
just
we
be friendly.
We
Make
have
friends.
some sister delegations that we have a lot of fun with at conferences. And that's a really great way to better yourself too.
Yeah.
Find teams that you respect the way that they run their team and you respect the game that they play. And you can learn a lot from that. Everybody needs, and I hope that that's what we will end up doing with this whole endeavor that we're on, is building that camaraderie so people can, you know, use each other to get better. And let's all be friends and enjoy conference and grow and be better delegates and not have it be like this weird angry rivalry for no reason.
Like some weird elitist thing that we don't need.
No.
even edging into MUN in the workplace, meeting people from all these different schools who are in the same kind of interest that you have, because, to be honest, most people in MUN have very specific career interests or majors that are very similar. Not saying everyone has to be poli-sci, international relations, global affairs, whatever, but a lot of people are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that I've met on the circuit, I can see going very far in life. Mm-hmm. And so going into the world and graduating, you're going to have a lot of connections, because the more you travel and the more you meet people on the circuit, and the more you're friendly with people in the circuit, it's not only great to make those connections friendly, like in a friendly way, but also professionally, because you'll never know who you're going to run into down the line of life.
For sure.
So be nice to people.
Also, if you're hosting a college conference, making friends with people at other conferences is a great way to bring people to your conference. We don't host a college conference. I wish we did.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Our club is super small,
Long
and I don't
after
know
our lifetimes.
I don't know if we could do. Our freshman year, we were like, yeah, we can totally host a conference by our senior year. Absolutely not.
The answer was
and now
no
every
way.
time we hear someone mention it, we're like, ho ho ho, you have a lot to learn.
You sure did think, huh?
We all did think.
I love your moxie, but you need to be realistic. You're not old and wizened enough.
We're like the old trees in Pocahontas.
Yes.
Honestly, Pocahontas is my favorite. Well, that and Hercules.
I love
historical
Hercules.
Fiction.
I was a big Beauty and the Beast. Historical fiction.
I love it.
I just realized.
I love Beauty and the Beast historical fiction.
I have a Disney fact about Pocahontas I have to tell you
Later.
Or no, I can tell
us now.
Tell me now.
Okay, so have you guys heard about the A team and the B team that Disney has?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, so Disney will separate their animators into like 2 different groups depending on how much money they think a movie's gonna make in the box office.
God.
So it's like the losers and the winners.
Was like the A team, and they spent more time on it. It had a bigger budget. Everything's hand drawn. It's beautiful.
It's
like,
stunning.
it is.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me the Lion King is the B
The
team.
Lion King was the B team.
Yes.
Because
You knew that.
they cranked it out faster. It's less like hand drawn.
Like
it's
aesthetically?
less aesthetically beautiful. They spent less time on it, and the
Oh my
odds are
God.
the B like on a lot of movies the B team ends up making way more money than the A team in the box office.
Okay.
18 by Ed Sheeran.
I love The Lion King. I'm very, very jazzed for the live action.
It's gonna be so good.
But I'll tell you, Pocahontas is slept on.
It is.
A fantastic
Just
movie.
Around the Riverbend slaps. I
Colors
sing
of
it
the
when I'm
Wind?
alone.
Slaps.
Oh my god, Colors of the Wind is it.
If you
man.
haven't
Colors of the Wind
sang
is one of
Colors
the-
of the Wind alone in your apartment or house, you're not a true Disney fan.
Colors of the Wind is one of the most quotable songs I think I've ever heard.
Everything about
Yeah.
it, and like
So
honestly,
good.
God, the social activism that came out of Pocahontas. She was so before her time. It was her.
I'm just gonna insert this really quick because
Yes.
I am like morally obliged to.
Please.
The movie I'm most excited for this month,
Oh,
other
God.
than Midsummer, which we saw,
Oh,
and we can do a
wild.
whole, if we do a
Patreon will be
Patreon.
movie review.
I wish. I love movies.
Honestly, we could make that a bit of it.
All right,
Yeah.
my most anticipated movie is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you're
Casey's a
literally
big
gonna
Tarantino
lose my mind.
lady. It does look really good. The cast
Yeah.
is
The cast is
star-studded.
stacked.
They played, but it's like star-studded in a way that's not. They're all good actors, though.
Oh yeah,
I hate when
it's not
star-studded,
extra.
but
It's not
it's like
extra. It's not like that weird
Drew
Adam
Barry-
Sandler movie that I just
Yes,
saw.
I literally just said Drew Barrymore.
I just
thinking of
it
Adam
was,
Sandler
It was
movies.
Jennifer Aniston. in
Jennifer
it.
Aniston
I don't
and
know.
Adam
Is that weird
Sandler.
spy movie where they're on a boat? I don't know. There's a lot of like big stars in it, but it's also an Adam Sandler movie, so I don't know.
It's always concerning.
It's none of my business. But
All right, this is just a tidbit of what you can expect from our Patreon.
I'll do an entire episode about Midsummer because we had an experience. If you
Oh.
haven't seen it,
Oh my
go watch
God.
it. If you are of legal age to go watch it,
It is wild.
it's crazy.
If you're
Absolutely
not, I'm
wild.
not saying sneak in because it might scar you.
Ask your parents.
Also, yeah, don't sneak into that one.
no, that one's
No.
rough. that
If you,
movie is upsetting.
Also, if you and your boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other have a tumultuous relationship, maybe don't go see it together.
Do.
It'll
Show
mean-
that you need to end the relationship.
All
Okay.
right. So, if you want to hear more about Midsummer, leave a like and a comment down below. Hit subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell to get your notifications.
But very authentically, tell your friends to follow us on Instagram because we love attention.
We just
and
hit
validation.
700. And I think it's really funny when we listen back to the episodes sometimes. I was listening to a blooper reel I made, and I said, we just hit 185. And it was really adorable because now we're at 700. And it's,
God.
thank you to everyone.
Our clout level is over 9,000.
Our clout level is over 700 because it's Instagram.
Okay, fair enough.
Clap from the audience.
Thank you. But genuinely, we're probably going to be coming at you with the Patreon soon.
We need money.
We need money, and you need content.
We did our financial sheet to figure out how much money we've lost already. Don't ask
It's
us.
so much.
No, it's not. It's not crazy.
No, it's. I don't know how much. Comment how much you think we have spent on this podcast so far. Actually, don't, because I'm gonna feel bad because you're gonna say like $5. This audio quality is terrible.
It sounds like a toaster. Are you recording this off of like a Nokia? With like one cell service on T-Mobile?
No, it's my sidekick, man.
All right. I think it's time.
I think it's
It is
time.
to put the kibosh on this episode.
Honestly, we deserve it.
We should.
Do I have a motion to close debate?
Motion to close debate.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I.
Debate is now closed.
Point of information, what are your social medias?
You can follow us on Instagram at Mono1Podcast, and you can email us any questions or comments that you may have at mono1.business@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate and review us.